AI breakthroughs. You've heard the hype. Machines that can write novels, generate images, compose music, maybe even answer questions better than your smartest friend. It sounds like the future is here. But here's the thing, there's a part of this story that almost nobody talks about. The stuff that lives in the shadows. The messy, inconvenient truths researchers often skip, ignore, or don't even see themselves. Let's start with speed. AI is moving ridiculously fast. Models that once needed warehouses full of GPUs now run on laptops, phones, maybe even your smart fridge one day. That sounds cool, but it's terrifying when you think about what doesn't scale the same way. Ethics, safety checks, human oversight, they don't magically accelerate with compute power. They're optional in the rush to the next benchmark. So yes, we get amazing outputs, but we also get corners cut, mistakes amplified, and consequences nobody really signed up to handle. Then there's the data. AI eats data like a black hole. Everything you've ever posted, liked, or clicked on becomes a potential lesson. Every obscure forum post, every deleted tweet, every late-night rant, models remember. They don't just learn patterns, they memorize details, sometimes deeply, sometimes dangerously. Biases embedded in the data. They become biases in the model. Private info. Sometimes harvested accidentally, sometimes without anyone noticing. It's a black box that reflects humanity in all its messy glory, but nobody tells you the mirror is warped. Control is another mess entirely. Who really controls these models? Not the average user. Not even most researchers. A handful of labs. A handful of companies. A handful of people decide what the AI can see, what it can say, what it can do. Those decisions are shaped by money, influence, hype cycles, and sometimes pure indifference. We cheer the impressive outputs while the invisible hands pull the levers. And those invisible hands. That's where the risk lives. Hype doesn't help. Every press release, every demo, every flashy headline frames AI as inevitability, as progress. But progress isn't neat. Breakthroughs fail. They leak. They behave in ways nobody expected. Researchers know this. They publish nuanced papers with careful caveats. But who reads those papers? Not the public. Not the media. The narrative that goes viral is polished, simple, exciting. It's AI conquering the world, not AI quietly amplifying problems nobody warned you about. And what about autonomy? As AI gets more capable, it doesn't just mirror humans, it amplifies our flaws. It can reinforce echo chambers, generate misinformation, manipulate narratives, and occasionally behave in ways even its creators didn't predict. Everyone focuses on the creativity, the convenience, the wow factor. Few talk about the interactions nobody tests, the outputs nobody monitors, the unintended consequences of letting a machine think faster than you can. Let's be honest. AI is amazing, revolutionary, mind-blowing, but there's a shadow side. A part that's missing from glossy videos, hype articles, and most press releases. It's in speed, without oversight. In bias baked into data. In concentrated control. In mistakes nobody acknowledges. In outputs that, if left unchecked, can have consequences we won't see until it's too late. Interrogating that shadow isn't fear-mongering, it's reality checking, because ignoring it won't make it disappear. We need to ask hard questions. How is the data collected? Who decides what the model can and can't do? What safety measures are actually enforced versus what's written in a slide deck? And maybe most importantly, are we paying attention to the consequences before they're irreversible? If you want an AI that's safe, ethical, and genuinely useful, it isn't enough to cheer the breakthroughs. We need skepticism. We need accountability. We need to shine light into the parts the press won't cover, the parts researchers might hope we don't notice. Otherwise, we're just celebrating magic while the dark side quietly grows. And trust me, the dark side always grows. So the next time someone tells you AI is the future, think twice. Ask what's being hidden, what's being glossed over, what we're not being told. Because that's the story that actually matters. That's the story that will shape all of our lives. Whether we're ready for it or not. AI breakthroughs aren't inherently bad. They aren't inherently good. They're tools. Powerful, dangerous, unpredictable tools. And like any tool, it depends on who's holding it, how they use it, and whether anyone is watching when things go wrong. The headlines won't tell you this. Researchers won't shout it from the rooftops. But if you're paying attention, if you're willing to look beyond the hype, you can see it, the dark side of AI breakthroughs. And maybe, just maybe, we can learn to deal with it before it deals with us.